Good morning, my dear students. Today we are going to talk about what is called as environment biology. About 20 or 25 years back, we were using the term ecology for the same thing. Of course, the terminology will be going on changing from time to time. Like that, the term ecology is also now being called by a very broad terminology called environmental biology. Environmental biology is once again divided into environmental botany and environmental zoology. In fact, environment has to be studied along with the plants, animals, non-living materials, everything. Everything put together is called as an environment. Of course, along with the human being also, it is a very, very broad terminology. Now, how the environment is affecting the plant life is what we are going to study in this class. The term environment means surrounding in which organisms live. It is also called as ecology. Ecology deals with the various principles that govern the relationship between the organisms and environment. See, just now I was telling you, environment means it's also otherwise called as ecology. The term ecology comes from the word oikos. What do you mean by the word oikos? Oikos means home or house. Okay. See, sometimes we are also using the term called monoecious, dioecious. These words are also we are using. See, it comes once again from the basic word called oikos. Oikos means home. That means monoecious means one home. What do you mean by the term one home? Here, male flower and female flower, both of them, they live in the same plant. Plant means home. So, it is called as a monoecious. Dioecious means they live in two different plants. So, in Latin, Greek, oikos means a house. When you study the plants in relation to this house, then it is called as ecology. So, the term ecology means a house or place to live, and logos means study or discourse. It was first introduced by Reiter in 1885. Now, Haeckel in 1886, a zoologist defined ecology as the study of reciprocal relationships between organisms and their environment. It is a reciprocal relationship. That's very important. How the plant is affecting the other living organisms and soil, and how the soil is once again, it is supporting the plant life. It is a reciprocal, you know. We are using the word always reciprocal. Love also should always be reciprocal, they say. You know, if you want to be loved, you must love somebody else. You must love those people. So it is reciprocal, they say. So reciprocal means giving and taking. So plants contribute something to the environment, and at the same time environments contribute to their maximum to the plant and animal life. So, it is a reciprocal relationship between the organism and the environment. Any constituent or condition of the environment which affects directly or indirectly to the form and functioning of the organisms in any specific way is called as environmental or ecological factor. So, whenever we study of ecology, the most important area is what is called as an ecological factor or factors affecting the plant and the animal life. these are called as the ecological factors. Now, these ecological factors are broadly classified into what's called as the climatic factors, edaphic factors, and biotic factors. Edaphic means soil. Climatic, once again, each one is divided into many categories. Climate, you know what is a climate is? That which is affecting, that which is in the atmosphere. It includes the light, temperature, and then sometimes even sound and other things. They also affect the plant life very much. Pollution, all these things, they are contributed by the climatic factors. Edaphic factors means soil factors. Biotic factor means other living organisms, that is in the form of the plant and the animals. Now we are going to study one after another. First we are taking the climatic factors. It is containing four sub-factors, namely light, temperature, water, and then the air. So, 4 factors are there in the climatic factor. One after another we are going to study. Okay. So, what is light? How light is affecting the plant life? You know very well that light is the most important source of energy. Particularly sun's light. We say sun's light is the energy. Without sunlight, nothing is possible in this world. Only by trapping the sun's energy, the plants are able to do the function of photosynthesis. That is entering into the different pathways to produce proteins, carbohydrates, vitamins, fats, and all other substances that man is depending upon. So, light becomes a very important factor for the plant life. Without life, it is not at all possible. There is a very big topic in plant physiology about the photoperiodism, long day plants, short day plants, day neutral plants, how the plant life is affected by the length of the light. That itself is a very big topic. You know very well, for the seed germination, light is a most essential thing. In the darkness, the seeds can never germinate. Of the different things required for the seed germination, light, water, and air. These 3 are very important. Of course, a little bit of hotness. If you are going to keep the seeds in the fridge or in a refrigerated condition, a seed can never germinate. Okay. So, light is one of the important factor for the growth, for the maturation, and for the flowering. That is for substance called a phlorizin, which is being activated only by the light. So, the flowering is possible only by the light. So, the reproduction is only because of the light. So, in each and every aspect of the plant life, light is playing the most important role. So, light is one of the very important factors for the plant life. Light is a factor great physiological importance. It affects the structure, growth, and activities of the organisms. Second one becomes the temperature. Most living organisms can survive only in a narrow range of temperature, that is of 5 degrees Celsius to 35 degrees Celsius. If it is below this or above this point, the plants normally do not survive. But of course, there are exceptions to this. There are bacteria which are living even in the ice. They are called as the cryobacteria. There are hundreds of organisms which are living in the polar areas, polar zones. They go even up to minus 25 or minus 30 degrees Celsius. There are organisms which are able to survive. Similarly, in a xerophyte condition, in a desert area, there are successful survivors even above the level of the 35 degree Celsius. They are able to survive even in 50 degrees Celsius. But of course, this is a very broad category. Most of the plants, whenever we talk of the rules, we talk about the broad area. So, 99% of the plants, they survive between 5 degree and 35 degrees Celsius, even though some of the organisms extreme condition, they are able to survive even below 5 degrees Celsius and above 35 degrees Celsius. As I was just telling you, certain bacteria, particularly of the cyanobacteria type, that is a blue-green algae, they are what are called as a cryobacteria. They are also called as a cryobacteria. Cryo, which means ice. The study of ice and the low temperatures is called as the cryology. So they are able to live in the low temperatures. And then seeds also, spores and encysted protozoans, they can also survive in the hot springs as well as in the very low temperature. Now, water. How water is essential for the plant life, that I need not explain this. You know, water is the basic requirement for the plant life, animal life, human life, any living organism in this world. Can you imagine a living organism without water? No. The protoplasm is formed of only 80 to 90% of water. Even though in some of the xerophytic plants this level may come down. And there are plants, as I was telling you, which are living in the water aquatic habitat called hydrophytes. Plants which are living in the desert dry area called xerophytes. There is mesophytes, plants which are living in the normal areas. All the other things I have not enlisted here. Plants which are living in the sunlight, they are called as heliophytes. Helio means light. You know, there is a plant called heliotropism. Helio means light. So that when a plant is living in the shade, it is called as zeophytes. Plants which live in the sand, they are called the psammophytes. Don't bother about all those things. So plants live in the sunlight, plants live in the shade, plants live in water, plants live in dry climatic condition. So plants live in different areas, but you know, they need water. Water is a basic requirement for the plant life. Now, the fourth one is what is called as air. Air is very essential. Without air, we cannot live in this world. You know, we also need what? Oxygen, and then we give out carbon dioxide. But plants need both oxygen and carbon dioxide. For the photosynthetic work, they take a carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. And then for the respiratory activities, they take in oxygen and they give out carbon dioxide. So they need air, they need all these gases, all these materials for their normal life. Air currents determine the weather conditions and also affect the living organisms, particularly the plants. Wind helps in pollination, they help in the pollination, and they help in the dispersal of the fruits and seeds and in the many plants. See, without pollination, nothing is there in this world. See, when I am just using this word pollination, I remember one very important message. They say if you are going to kill all the bees, or the bees are going to die in this world, within very short time, say 2 years, within 2 years, the whole world will be completely, totally devastated. Only one living organism, bees, only one living organism is going to die. The whole life will come to an end in the earth. How? Why? Because if there are no bees, then pollination is not possible. If a pollination is not possible, then the fruit formation, nothing is possible in this world. If there are no fruits, then we will be left with nothing to eat in this world and the human population come to an end. So what are all the things which we are having today? We will be able to support our life only for 2 years at the maximum. If one organism is dying in this world, the whole world will come to an end. Now you understand why the study of environment and the maintenance of environment, the taking care of the environment is very important for our life. Only if you care for the plants, you will care for yourself. If you want your life to be supportive, then you have to take care of the plants. So air is doing the job of pollination. Not only that, they help in the dispersal of the seeds and fruits. Very, very important. It increases the transpiration. Which may lead to the desiccation and wilting of many plants. So it increases the transpiration. It is a positive activity, and air is also leading to the wilting of many plants. If there is going to be a very heavy blow of wind in the form of hurricanes and other things, then many plants will die. See what happened just about 10 years back in Pondicherry. You must be knowing. There was a very, very big, what is called as havoc, and we lost most of the plants in this area. So the strong wind also, they uproot the plants, they result in the wilting of the plants, but of course they have got the positive activity or the attitude also. Now the last one perhaps is what is called as an edaphic factor. it is the second important factor, and it has got many sub-factors. Climatic factor is over. Now we have come to the edaphic factor. The third one will be the biotic factor. Okay. Now edaphic factor. In this edaphic factor, what we are going to study, we are going to discuss about a soil, mineral matter, organic matter, soil water, then soil air, pH, there is a hydrogen concentration, then mineral element. So these are the 7 points that we are going to discuss under the topic called soil factors, or what is called as edaphic factors. Now if you just go for BSc Agri or MSc Agriculture after a higher secondary course, agriculture, there is a separate branch called soil study. See, agriculture is not there without soil, because only soil is supporting the plant life, of course. So we can of course live even without a soil, but plant life is totally impossible without a soil. So soil study is very important for them. So there will be different departments even in the soil study. There will be many departments in the agricultural colleges. So soil study is a very important study in the agriculture. But of course here also for plant life, soil is very important. Soil is the upper withered and humus organic matter containing layers of earth which sustains the plant life and contains numerous living organisms along with the other dead remains. This dead remain is also very, very important. This dead remain only contains a lot of bacteria, different type of bacteria, namely nitrifying bacteria, nitrate bacteria, nitrite bacteria, ammonifying bacteria, denitrifying bacteria. So many types of bacteria are there. All these bacteria, they are all called soil bacteria. These bacteria live only in the soil. They say if you just take a soil, single soil particle, or this soil particle, if you just take one granule of soil, only one granule of soil, it will be containing few thousands of bacteria, they are saying. Okay. So if you just take a handful of soil, we don't know how many bacteria will be there. It will be in billions and billions. Billions of bacteria will be there in a handful of soil. So much of bacteria are there in the soil because they are living in the dead remains. So soil is the upper withered portion. It contains a lot of humus, and this humus is responsible for lodging the dead bacteria, dead remains, which is lodging the bacteria. Soil provides water, mineral salts, and they also help in anchoring the plants. The characteristics of the soil, such as its constitution, origin, temperature range, water holding capacity, aeration, minerals, etc., they determine the life of the plants as well as animals. So, which determines that which type of a plant or an animal should live in this world? It is only the type of the soil. So, the constitution of the soil, origin of the soil, temperature of the temperature range, then water holding capacity, aeration, minerals, everything, all these things, they decide and determine what type of a plant and animal should live in a particular place. See, water holding capacity means you are having different type of soil. Say clay soil will hold the water for a long time. Its absorbing capacity is very slow. It absorbs the water very slow, but it retains it for a long time. A sand will absorb the water very quick, but at the same time it will lose the water very quick. So the retention capacity is very less. Since the different soils have different absorbing and retaining capacity, they decide and determine what type of plants should grow on a particular soil. You know, some plants are growing in a clay soil, you would have studied, and some plants are very easily growing on a sand. They are called samophytes, as I was also telling you. Some plants are living in a loamy soil. Some are growing in an alluvial soil. Some are growing in the red soil, black soil, garden soil. Different type of soils are there, and different type of plants are growing in different soils, because it is the water holding capacity of that particular plant that decides what type of a plant should live on that particular area. Okay. Now, the mineral matter which is present in the soil is also very important. The physical attributes of the soil are due to the size of the soil particles. The different particles which are present in the soil vary in their size, and depending on this, soils have been classified into sandy soil, silt, and clay. Sandy soils are porous, I was telling you just now, and have little water holding capacity. Clay soil have greater capacity. Their absorbing nature is very slow. They absorb the soil, water very slowly, but they retain it for a longer duration. Here, because of their porous capacity, they absorb the water very quick, but at the same time they lose the water also very quick. Organic matter. The organic matter, the humus, is highly important for all types of soils because it increases both aeration and hydration. When the soil is very loose, it is lot of air spaces will be there in the soil, and also it can hold more water molecules. If the soil granules are very tight, as in the case of a clay soil, they cannot have air as well as water packets in between them. It maintains the structure of the soil and also provides inorganic salts and some growth promoting substances to the soil. Soil water. Now, the soil water is of a paramount importance in the physiology of the plants. It occurs in various forms such as gravitational water, called as a gravitational water, hygroscopic water, and combined water. There is one more water is called runaway water. very important type of water only I have given here to you. Gravitational water, when there is a shower of rain, that which is going deep into the soil by the gravitational force is what is called as a gravitational water. And the capillary water, between the soil particles will be having the capillary there will be capillary, it's not a capillary tube, capillarity will be there, very small holes. Through these holes the water go down because of the capillarity force. So capillary water, hygroscopic water, and then the combined water, that which is clinging to the surface of the soil is called the hygroscopic water. Okay, rain is the principal source of water for the soil. Water which flows down due to the force of gravity is called as a gravitational water. A certain amount of rainwater is retained within the intercellular spaces of the soil particles in the form of a capillary network. So that is called as a capillary water. Some water molecules form a thin sheet of water around the soil particle. That's what I told. The water will be clinging to the surface of the soil. That water is called as a hygroscopic water. What is the soil air? This soil air is essential for the growth of the root and microorganisms. So soil and the pH, how pH is affecting the plant life. Most organisms thrive in an optimal pH range, just like a temperature. It has a narrow range. pH has also got a range. This pH of a soil and water has a strong influence on the distribution of the organism. If it is a more acidic or a more alkaline, then that particular soil cannot support the life of the plant. If it is a more acidic, then you can imagine how a plant will grow if it is acidic. There are certain plants which are growing in a little bit of acidic soil. That's different. And there are certain plants which are growing in a little bit of alkaline soil. It needs alkalinity, it needs acidity, a little bit. But by and large, most of the plants, they live mostly in a neutral soil. More of acidity and more of alkalinity will not be able to support the plant. Okay. Some plants and aquatic animals require acidic conditions. Others need neutral and alkaline conditions. Mineral elements. A number of minerals are essential for normal growth of organisms. Their availability and concentration control the distribution of microbes, plants and animals. Deficiency or absence of any one results in abnormal growth. So mineral, only in my last class I was talking to you about the mineral nutrition. What is the role of minerals in the support of a plant? How the plant will be able to grow normally with the help of the minerals. Otherwise, I was discussing to you what will be the different type of diseases, the symptoms of the diseases, everything we were discussing about the macronutrient and the micronutrient. So mineral elements are very, very essential for the plant life, which are present in the soil. Now we have come to the third factor called biotic factor. First one that we discussed is, you remember? You have forgotten? You have forgotten? No, you remember. You are remembering, isn't it? The first factor that we were discussing was climatic factor. The second factor that we were discussing was edaphic factor, soil factor. And now we have come to what is called as biotic factor. The biotic factor deals with interaction among the living organisms. When a plant is living in an area, surrounding that plant, so many plants and animals will live. So these are all the biotic components. Now even human being is one of the biotic component as far as a plant is concerned. Surrounding that plant, what are all the other plants, other animals and human being living? These are all the biotic components of the plant. Okay, this along with the abiotic component forms the overall ecosystem. Relationships among organisms. Wadham, a very great ecologist, a very great ecologist, was done a lot of work on the study of the plant and the animal life. Wadham used the term symbiosis in its broader sense and preferred to group all the types of symbiotic interrelations into two major groups. So, all the interactions that a plant is having with other plants, animals and human being, that particular interaction he is dividing into two major groups. Okay, that is a positive interaction and negative interaction. So when a plant is living in an area, now this particular plant will be positively, it will be interacting with the other plants, or it will have negativity also. For example, an animal may support a plant, or it will eat the plant and go away. That is also possible. So similarly, we are also taking care of the plant, we nourish the plant, and sometimes we kill the plant also. So a plant is experiencing a positive interaction as well as a negative interaction from the surrounding biotic compounds. So these positive interactions are divided into three categories: commensalism, proto-cooperation and mutualism. Once again, each one is going to be classified into some more types. The negative interactions are divided into competitions, predation, parasitism and antibiotics. That we will go after some time. Now we will go to the positive interactions. First one is mutualism. What is the mutualism? Here both the species derive benefit. Symbiosis is one very good example of mutualism. Mycorrhizal association is another very good example. Lichens is the best example for the symbiotic type of life cycle. I used to tell very often to my students that what's a symbiotic type of life or a mutualism? It is exactly like a husband and wife relationship. See, the husband is supporting the wife in all the household works. The wife is supporting the husband. So there is a perfect understanding between the two people. This is what is called as a mutualism. There is a mutual understanding between the two people. So nothing is at a loss. So this type of relationship is what is called as a symbiotic relationship. So if a bacterium is there, it will be supporting the plant, but the plant will be supporting the bacteria. In a mycorrhizal association, myco means a fungus, rhizo means a root. When a fungus is living in a root, the best example is a pinus. A pinus can never live in this world without the mycorrhizal association, which is once again divided into ectomycorrhizal association and endomycorrhizal association. These fungi may live on the surface of the root, or they may go deep into the root and then they may live there also. But in all cases, these are fungi. They help the plant in all ways. What is a lichen? Lichen is an association of alga and fungus. Both of them, they enter into a perfect understanding. The alga is fixing the food, and then it is giving the food to the fungus. The fungus is giving the lodging facility to the algae. So you see, it's a beautiful arrangement. Alga is taking care of the boarding part, and the fungus is taking part of the lodging part. So you have got a lodging and boarding arrangement there. Okay, so lichen is such a type of life. So it's a symbiotic nitrogen fixes, then mycorrhizal association, lichens. Okay, so these are all the examples of the mutualism. Commensalism. What is this commensalism? Commensalism refers to the association between the members of a different species only. See, lionas. What is a lioness? Yeah, liona. It is a modified twiner. What is a twiner or it's a climber? When a climber is climbing on other plant, when it is very young, you call it as a climber. But in the forest, what happens? A particular plant will climb on a supporting plant and then it will become very big. That itself will become a very big tree. The liana will become, and then sometimes the dia will be 1 foot or 1.5 feet, like that. So such a very big lianas we have seen in the forest. Okay, they are the climbers. Initially they are climbers and then they become very, very strong and stout. So these lionas, they live in association with the other plants. Then epiphytes, plants which grow on the other plants are called as epiphytes. Epizoics, one animal living on the plants, animals living on the plants, plants living on the plants. Here plants living on other plants for the purpose of support. So here also we are able to see different type of associations. So commensalism is an association between the members of a different species only. Now we are going to the negative interactions. Negative interactions are what is called as exploitation, then antibiosis, and then the competition. Okay. Now we will study one after another. See, in exploitation, once again we have got a different types of exploitation. How a plant is being exploited for the different purposes. First one is for shelter. Now man is the first organism for this who is exploiting the plants. Of course we are exploiting the plant for our benefit. See, we are exploiting the plant for different purposes for our shelter, for our food, for our medicine. You cannot imagine the man's life without a plant life. Now we depend only on the plants for our all the life activities. Particularly the man who lived about 300 to 400 years back, not too long. Even just before 300, up to 300 years back, you just think of the condition of the man who was living in this world. So from morning till night, 10 o'clock, he will be only depending on the plants. The man wakes up from the bed, then he has to clean the teeth. In those days, they will be cleaning the teeth only with the help of the toothbrushes. Toothbrushes of what is called as a plant origin. They just break a twig, and that with the help of the plant twig, they will be able to clean the brush. For cleaning the tongue, for bathing purposes, for body wash, for hair wash, for everything. So we depend on the plants to the maximum extent. Okay, for our food, for our medicines. So there is a separate branch called medicinal botany. Nearly about 5,000 plants we are using in different systems of medicines called Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, etc. That itself becomes a very big area in botany. The study of the plants, the relation of the plants to the human medicine. So we exploit the plant for the medicine, we exploit the plants for our shelter, and we exploit the plants for different purposes. Okay. So exploitation of the plant by the other animals and human being for the purpose of food. Other animals also depend on the plants for their food. Then parasitism. What is a parasitism? When a plant is depending on another plant for its food, resulting in killing of that particular plant, it is called as a parasitism. Examples are Cuscuta, Orobank, Epiphagus, Riflexia, and Vitis. Vitis is coming under the family called Vitaceae. Many plants are parasitic in their nature. Now, I was just telling you symbiosis is a beautiful example of, I compared it with the husband and wife relationship. One is benefited by the another. Husband is supporting the wife and wife is supporting the husband. So there are two plants, bacteria and angiospermic plants. Bacteria are supporting the angiosperms and angiosperms are supporting the bacteria. Here parasitism is something like what is called the host and the guest relationship. See, a guest is coming to your house. When he is coming to your house, you just invite him, you say, come on uncle, come on auntie, you sit in, you be with us for a few days, and then you feed them, and then they are with you for some time. Till 3 or 4 days when they are with you, it's good, fine, nice, they become a part of your family. After some time what happened? The people who came, they never go back to their place. They live in this with you for a very long duration. Now what happens? They become a parasite on you. That is what is called a parasitism. You are not benefited in any way by your guest. You are only hosting them every day. Every day you are hosting them. They become much benefited. So here one organism is benefited and another is at a loss. That type of relationship is what is called as a parasitism. So many parasites are there available. See, parasitic plants and insectivorous plants, carnivorous plants, particularly insectivorous plants, it comes to nearly 400 to 500 insectivorous plants are there. I have just recorded only a few plants. Nepenthes, you could have seen. And then Darlingtonia, Drosera, Articularia, Dionia. The Dionia is called as a Venus flytrap. Nepenthes. Okay, Nepenthes it is a beautiful plant. See, it's called as a picture plant, isn't it? It's a beautiful modification. Just go to the net and then click Nepenthes and other just videos running for about 3 or 4 minutes. You will be able to see beautiful videos, fantastic videos. You will be able to see live videos, how beautifully it is capturing the insects. You will be able to show. See, the inner layer is completely what is called as a little bit acidic in nature, and they have got a stinging hairs. Now the petiole is modified into a tendril. The petiole is modified into a tendril. The base of the leaf is modified into a pitcher. The tip of the leaf is modified into a leaf. So the whole leaf is totally modified into a leaf for what is known as a insect catching mechanism. Okay. So whenever a small insect is entering, then this lid will close and then the small insect will be digested. That is how the plant is surviving. Such type, that is what is called the Nepenthes. Drosera also, you could have seen Drosera. Drosera, the plant is more or less like this. It has got what is known as inwardly pointing hairs will be there, and then a small opening will be there. Through this opening, the insects will go inside, but they will not be able to come out because of the inwardly pointing hairs. So they die there, and then they are getting digested. And then, of course, Articularia, it is a small water plant. The plants are very small, very small. Okay. Now, when you see the plant Articularia in your textbooks drawn, don't think it's called the bladderwort. It looks like a bladder. So don't think that the bladder is very large. No, it's just 1 millimeter in size, less than a millimeter. So it's about a 0.5 millimeter or 1 millimeter in size. And a bunch of bladders will be there. Say if you just take a bunch, 10,000 or 20,000 bladders will be there in one bunch. Dionia is what is called as a Venus flytrap. And there are sundew plants or there which just what is known as they are glittering in the sun, and when the sunlight falls on that, it glitters. The insects they get fascinated by this glittering. They come and sit on the leaf, and then finally they die. Okay, so these are all the carnivorous plants. That is how the other animals or the plants are being benefited by the animals. The plants are being benefited by the animals. So when I am talking about this carnivorous plant, once again I want to tell you one very important thing. See, people will be telling there are certain plants in this world which are able to eat the animals also. Please don't get overexcited. You please understand that there is no plant in this world which can eat more than the size of a bee, or at the maximum a beetle or a butterfly. Okay, it's the maximum size that they can eat. They cannot eat a larger organism. See, when we used to go into the forest for our forest studying, without knowing that we are botanists, people who are in the forest, other people, they will say, sir, don't go deep into the forest. There is a very big tree is there, and if you go near that tree with the help of the roots, they will be eating you. They will be telling. But we know, we are botanists, what a plant can eat and what a plant cannot eat, how much they can eat, what insects they are depending upon, everything we know. But without knowing that we are scientists, they will be bluffing. We used to laugh at them. Similarly, a plant cannot eat more than the size of a small beetle. There is a maximum size that they can depend upon. Okay, so they are the carnivorous plants, parasitism. Okay, fine. That's good. Finally, we are going to antibiosis. The term antibiosis generally refers to the complete and partial inhibition or death of an organism by another through the production of some substance or environmental conditions as a result of the metabolic pathways. See, chlorella when is being killed by some other organism which is living in other areas. So when they are living in the water, one organism will kill another organism by the poisonous substance that it is producing. That is what is called as antibiosis. Please don't confuse this word antibiosis with antibiotics. Antibiotics is totally different. This is antibiosis. One organism killing another organism, resulting in the death of other organism, is called as antibiosis. Okay. Competition. Sometimes there will be a competition between the plants. The competition is between a plant and the plant, a plant and the animal. So different type of competitions are there in the forest or in a living environment. That could be intraspecific or within intraspecific. Intraspecific means plants belonging to the same species. When they live in a particular area, when they live in a crowd, one plant is fighting or competing with the another for the survival. You know, Darwin has already told a very good term, survival of the fittest, he has told. So only that which is able to fit, it will be able to survive, and that becomes a fitting member in the society. So there will be always a competition between the species, between the species and within the species, and a different type of competitions is also a part of the environmental factors. Fine. Now that concludes our discussion about what is called as environmental factor, climatic factors and biotic factors. Today I was able to teach you something about the environment biology. So what is, to sum up, what is called as an environmental biology? Environmental biology, the old terminology was ecology. Today also it is being used in a very loose sense, but environmental biology is a very broader area. Environmental biology is the science related to the plant life and animal life in a particular area, in a component, in a living component. Okay. So how a particular plant is being affected by the other factors, namely climatic factors, edaphic factors and biotic factors, is what we have today learned under the topic called environmental biology. Okay, now that completes our discussion on this topic. Okay, good, bye. As usual, I am putting the question. If you got any doubt, you are free to ask. Teachers also, if you got any doubt, you please ask me. I will be very happy, immensely happy to clarify your doubts. Thank you.